I told my best friend that I regret getting married to my husband. Now he wants to divorce me. I'm in a bit of a pickle and could really use some help. My husband filed for divorce because he overheard me saying I regret it. I'm getting divorced. There's literally fire on the mountain in my life and in my marriage. It all happened as a result of a single statement. My husband has just filed for a divorce. I only just found out about it. He's overreacting just because of a single statement I made. I don't know how he'll react when he finds out I cheated on him twice. He's angry that I told someone I regret our marriage. He wants to end our relationship because of that single statement. But only I know that. There's more to the story. My name is Cassandra, I'm 24, and I've been married for a year. My husband's name is Neil, he's 25, and he's an accountant. I'm a housewife by choice because I don't want to work and I can't work. I got married immediately after college and didn't have time to. I'm stuck in this marriage, but I still don't want to divorce my husband because I know I'm jobless and will be in trouble if I don't keep our marriage. I've been tired of this marriage for a very long time. Neil and I met in college and got married right after, but I regret getting married now. I wish I'd waited longer, or even tried to delay it a little bit. I was young and naive and thought I was in love, so I rushed into things. Now everything irritates me and I'm done with pretending he saw the signs, and that's why he waited for the affirmation. I stopped trying to be a wife altogether and just decided to live my life without him included. I may have cheated. I did cheat on him once or twice, but I was drunk and things just happened. I haven't told him yet because I don't want to ruin our friendship. If he finds out, I'm basically doomed. I messed up again because I got so frustrated 2 weeks ago, and I decided to call my best friend to vent. I thought Neil had gone to work, but I ended up getting the shock of my life when I turned around and saw him standing at the doorway. I was really scared and didn't know what to do, so I just kept quiet. What made me more nervous was the fact that I knew how many bad things I told my best friend. I told her I was tired of the marriage, and I didn't want to carry on pretending our conversation was carefree because I really believed that my husband wasn't at the house. I also told her that I regretted marrying him immediately after college and felt like he'd trapped me into the marriage. After I ended the call and turned around, I couldn't even open my mouth to speak. I was caught red, I was at a loss for words, and had no choice but to keep quiet. Neil was visibly upset, which I'd never seen before. I can't believe he got so angry over something so minor. What if he finds out I cheated on him twice? I'm very scared because I don't know what to expect, and I don't want to lose him that day. We had a very long argument, and he said a lot. I thought that would be the end of it, but just yesterday I found out that he's already filed for divorce. I thought he would calm down after a few days, but I'm still baffled by his ongoing anger. I need help because I know this is just the calm before the storm. I'm worried that the knowledge of the other things I've done would make him very shocked. I'm tired of I don't want to lose my husband, but I'm not sure I can stay married to someone who's so angry with me. I'm unemployed, and I don't have any family support. I don't think my parents would accept me if I divorced after just a year of marriage. I'm ashamed, and I don't want to face the stigma. When I said I needed space, I just wanted to have some fun. I never imagined I'd actually get divorced. I'm tired of the marriage, but I can't leave because of my finances. I don't love him anymore, but I can't leave him. I'm ready to stay married as long as I don't have to face the stigma that comes with divorce. Please help. Update 1. I've been called so many unpalatable names that I've honestly lost count. Most of you are judging me so freely as if you really know me. I'm not looking for criticism, I'm asking for help. But by posting this, I'm allowing people to give their opinions, which I don't appreciate. I was advised to win my husband back, and I'm even ashamed to admit it. I'm trying to win my husband back, which might sound stupid, but I'm ashamed to admit it. I'm trying to win my husband back. I know it sounds pathetic, but I don't mind being pathetic, as long as it saves my marriage. First of all, I tried begging Neil and asking him to change his mind. I came up with a lot of stories and tried to explain to him that I'd been frustrated and was just talking trash. Neil refused to listen to me, and instead gave me an ultimatum. He told me he wanted me out of the house as soon as possible. I was really scared when I heard him say that, and I got desperate. I tried everything I could to make him forgive me, but it seemed like I made things worse. Just yesterday, the divorce papers arrived, and he signed them right away. The divorce papers arrived and he signed them immediately before handing them over to me. He signed them the moment he got them. I was so upset I fell on my knees and cried my eyes out, but Neil ignored me like I was invisible. He doesn't let me sleep in our bedroom and he's stopped buying groceries and other household items. He doesn't even talk to me. I know he's keeping me in the house so he has the upper hand in court. He wants our divorce to be finalized first, so he doesn't have to pay a lot of money for spousal support. If I'm homeless, he knows I'm broke and have nowhere to go. That might work against him in court, but even though I might get a big check from the divorce, I'll still end up broke. I know that the divorce settlement won't last me long without a sustainable job. I'll still end up broke. I'm really frustrated right now and I regret ever making that phone call. I got so desperate that I almost burnt the divorce papers, but I knew that would just be a foolish move. I'm really desperate. A lot is going on. There's a lot of pressure from my parents because they've noticed that Neil has blocked them. Yes, he's blocked everyone related to me. He even blocked me, his wife. I know he's planning to send me out soon. I cannot let that happen. I cannot lose my marriage. I had no structure before getting married. I can't just get divorced without any structure either. I just wanted to have harmless fun. I didn't think it would end up biting me. I've tried everything, including trying to get in bed with Neil. It just brought me embarrassment and insults. He doesn't even want to see me, and he's made that clear. I want to get him back by being a perfect housewife. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I have no choice. I'm keeping this marriage, even though my pride will suffer in the end. He doesn't know about my cheating yet. I'm sure it will be easier to get him back. I need to act fast because there's only a limited amount of time that I have to delay signing the papers. I can't delay forever, and I certainly can't ignore the divorce papers. Time is not on my side, but I certainly hope that things will improve. I'm a fool, guys. I'm a fool and the universe is against me. I've realized that the universe is actually against me at this point. I don't know what I've done to deserve this kind of bad luck. I've made 1 or 2 mistakes, but this is just too much. I never expected things to get out of hand like this. My life was difficult before it just got 10 times harder. I tried my best. I think it's best to keep him from knowing the truth. As it turns out, my best wasn't enough. A lot has happened, and I don't even know where to start. You guys remember me saying I cheated on him? Well, it's true. I actually cheated about 2 months ago with a guy I met at the club. I recognized him as an old friend of mine, and after several secret dates, we hooked up twice. I was just trying to have some fun and break out of the marriage bubble. I thought, what the hell, I'll see where this goes. I've since realized it was a big mistake. I thought John, the guy I hooked up with, would be the perfect person for that because he didn't live here in Canada. He was just visiting his family before going back. It was a one-time thing. He came for a 1-month trip and left about a month ago. I forgot all about him and thought I'd never see him again. It wasn't an emotional decision. I just wanted to feel the excitement of flirting and having a casual relationship. That's why it hurts me right now to know that after everything, I still wasn't careful. I blocked John straight away. He went to Florida and hasn't tried to contact me since. Just the other day, I got a call from him. I got a call from the same guy I cheated on my husband with. I wanted to break my phone when I realized he was the one that called. Of course, he used another phone number since I'd previously blocked him. I thought it was someone else calling, but it was him. He called to say he was already in Canada and wanted to see me again. I blocked him straight away because I had no reason to keep talking to him. I'm trying to win back Neil, so I don't want to get him caught up in anything that could jeopardize my chances. It's already very hard and Neil has been giving me a tough time. I have a lot to say about Neil too. Where do I even start? There's so much drama that I actually want to run away and never come back, but I can't. I'm broke and helpless. This situation has taught me the importance of having my own money as a woman. I told you I wanted to win Neil back, even though it looked like an impossible mission. I put the divorce papers aside and decided to dedicate time to show him that I could change. He's still unaware that he did everything he could. He knows that I talked trash about him and announced that I was tired of the marriage. To him, it might seem like I just got frustrated. So I started taking care of the house and acting like a good wife. Even though he refused to look my way and hardly came home at night, I barely see Neil nowadays. Since he moved my things to the guest room, we hardly even meet. He's cut all ties with me, even though we're staying in the same house. He doesn't eat the food I cook sometimes. I start crying in front of him just to get his attention, but he never cares. He's so heartless that it hurts me. I keep apologizing, but it seems like he knows more than he should. Maybe that's why he's so angry with me. What if he knows that I actually cheated on him? I really don't want to think about that. It would mean that we're really going to get divorced. I know. Neil and I are absolutely certain that he'll never forgive me for cheating. Neil is not the kind of man who would forgive me, and there's no excuse that I could give him that would ever justify my reasons for cheating on him. That's why I feel so angry right now. Why do I have such bad luck? Why has John suddenly decided to come back? I don't know what to do. I don't think John's sudden decision to come back is going to work in my favor. He's been trying to call me with different phone numbers, and I've just had to switch off my phone. I'm writing this on my laptop because I can't afford to turn on my phone. I don't want anything to do with John. I'm done. I don't think I can let him back into my life. He's making me very scared because he keeps calling. What do I do? I know you're probably tired of me and my recurring problems, but please help me. I'm in the middle of a possible divorce and my ex-partner is trying to make a comeback. It's not going to be good, because even though my marriage is hanging on by a thread right now, John's arrival is going to seal the deal and ruin it. He's not good news at all, so I need advice on what to do. He knows I'm married, so I know he might try to do something stupid. Please help me, guys. I know you guys. I don't like asking for help, but I'm in a tough spot. I made a mistake by cheating, but I was tired of feeling trapped. I'm 24 and I'm at a crossroads. I've been asking myself, can things get any worse? I've got my answers, and it's not pretty. This might be the last update to this post. I'm still not sure. I don't know if I can make things worse. I told you I tried to delay the divorce process. I didn't lie. I came up with a lot of excuses, even though I knew it wasn't legal to delay things for more than a certain amount of time. It was risky, but I thought I was being clever. But it turns out I was the biggest fool in the room. Neil didn't just sit back and watch me try to delay the divorce. He disturbed me so much that I got so tired of everything. He frustrated me and threatened me. HD told me I had no choice but to sign the papers or else we would have to go to court. I thought a lot of the things he said were empty threats. I was wrong. When Neil first filed for divorce, I was devastated. Part of me really believed that I could win him back with time. I was wrong about that too. Neil had heard everything. I had a conversation with my best friend, who was aware of all the things I said about him and our marriage. He overheard the insults I made about him and the way I talked down on our relationship. Even though I caught him listening in on our conversation that day, I never imagined that he had stayed long enough to find out so much. He heard everything I said to my best friend, and he made that clear to me. In a recent argument, I got angry and frustrated and tried to get him to stop overacting. But I ended up getting embarrassed and talking down to Neil. He actually recorded everything I said that day. Yes, he recorded my rant, and he kept the recording to himself. I wasn't aware, and it never occurred to me that he would do that, so it was a real shock when he played the voice recording during one of our arguments. I was so shocked that I didn't dare open my mouth to speak. What would I even say? I knew that there was nothing I could say that would make him forget the things he'd heard. Neil became the poster child for what people can achieve in alpha. He made it clear to me that he couldn't stay with a woman who had little to no values and could easily find fault with her. According to him, he realized that I was not worth it. He said I was disrespectful and that I couldn't be trusted. I don't remember everything I said that day, but I do remember hinting that I had a wild night at a club. Those words were also played out in the phone recording Neil played for me, even though everything that happened. That day really made me feel cold and worried. What worried me most was that Neil had also heard me say I'd had a wild night at the club. I'd only said that though, and I hadn't given away any other information. I knew Neil might have read more into what I'd said than was there, but I decided to forget all about it. Ultimately, it came back to me, so even though John kept trying to reach me after I unblocked him and sent him a lengthy message warning him to stay away, he didn't listen and decided to ruin my marriage. Can you believe that John told Neil everything? He did. That was pretty harsh. I was betrayed. I don't know what he was thinking or why he thought that was the best thing to do. But I do hope that his actions have consequences. He ruined my marriage and undermined all the efforts I made to improve things. I've been worried and exhausted, yet I kept pushing and trying to save my marriage, but thanks to John, all my efforts are in vain. I'm now going through a divorce as a result of his carelessness and bitter nature. He couldn't handle the rejection, so GE decided to do something stupid instead of his way. If you're wondering how John was able to meet Neil and have a conversation, on one of our secret date nights, I got too drunk to drive myself home. John offered to drive me, and I let him because I was worried for my safety and didn't want to come home alone. That's how he found out my house address. I noticed that he suddenly stopped being aggressive and started paying attention to me. I honestly thought that I was finally succeeding and he was going to forgive me. At the end of the day, those were the thoughts I had in mind as I foolishly tried to rekindle our relationship. He ended up offering me public embarrassment. That man is. He was undeniably ruthless and cruel. I can't believe that the same man I've tried to keep in my life could do that to me. He deceived me and made me let my guard down just so he could have the last laugh and humiliate me in front of my own family. If he wants nothing to do with me and wants to grab up GE, he should do that. Neil knows I respect my parents and I'm not keen on getting them angry, so he decided to invite them over to the house and play the voice recording of me and John. He did something I'll never forget, which just goes to show. He's really quite wicked. He stopped too low by leading me on. He shouldn't have made me look like a fool in front of my own family. He told me he invited my family over, so I made some dishes and set the dining table. But at the end of the day, he played the voice recording of me talking to my best friend, and also the voice recording of John telling him that I hooked up with him twice. Neil had a recording of John telling him that I hooked up with him twice. He didn't need to investigate because he had proof in the recording of me speaking to my best friend, where I clearly stated that I had a wild club night. My parents were very ashamed and disappointed. After telling me how ashamed they were, they left. I was kicked out of the GE house by Neil on Sunday. I had nowhere to go and couldn't go to see my parents because I knew they wouldn't accept me. I spent 3 hours in the cold before my best friend came to pick me up. I knocked on the front gate of Neil's house several times, but he never opened the door. I couldn't believe that John had actually come to the house while I was away and told Neil that he'd hooked up with me. He's the perfect definition of a coward, and I just know that karma is coming his way. I made some bad choices. I don't think I deserve what I got. I don't think I was eating because I was tired of the marriage. I'm a 24-year-old woman who got married at 23 after dating the same guy since I was 20. I felt suffocated, and the marriage wasn't as good as I imagined, so I freaked out and made some wrong decisions. Do I regret it? I do regret cheating, but I don't regret how I felt about the marriage. If I had my own money, I wouldn't have thought twice about leaving him long ago. I didn't think Neil would end up being so harsh though. I don't know if it's his, but he was just too cruel. I'm very disappointed that he brought my family into it. It was just unnecessary, but in the end, he won. I'm currently unemployed, and my parents don't want to see me. I'm also going through a divorce, and I'm not sure if I'll get good spousal support. It's been a crazy time, and I still can't believe that just a single phone call with my best friend revealed all my deepest secrets. Ruined my marriage and left me broke and divorced. Be careful out there, guys. You never really know who's listening. I learned the hard way. Picture a young girl with short hair and an average face growing up in an average family. My family wasn't rich, but they did their best to take care of me. I was bullied as a kid, so I was more of a loner than others. I didn't have many friends until my brother came along. His name is John, and he was my best friend. He still is. I was 5 years old when I held his small body in my hand. He practically followed me around everywhere when I got into college. He didn't want me to go and he cried. I shouldn't have gone, but I can't change what's done. I know that along the line I started becoming an extrovert, and I was able to talk more with others. A lot of things have happened since then. I was also able to stand up for myself. I'm married now and my life was going great. Not until Alex, my boyfriend, came along, and John didn't like Alex much. I think it was just a guy thing. You might be wondering why I'm telling you all this. Well, I'll start from the beginning. My name is Emily, and I want to tell you a story. I'm not a writer, so I hope I don't make any mistakes, but I'll try to make sure you understand what I'm saying. This is my story, and I need everyone's help because I don't know what to do. I'll start from the beginning. I met Stan when I was 21. We were both done with university and hit it off straight away. I gave him the cold shoulder at first, but he never gave up on me. He was different from Alex in the way he acted. I'm not comparing, but he's a really sweet and caring guy. We dated for over a year and he introduced me to his family. I loved his family and they loved me too. It was great. Stan proposed and I said yes. The marriage went smoothly. We had a small wedding at a local church and just invited a few friends and family members. I didn't want something large because I hate being around crowds, and he respected that. I remember telling him the words I do. To be honest, I was scared of getting married because I didn't want it to hold me down. But eventually, I had the courage. We've been married for a year now, and we've had a few problems. The first one is that I couldn't get pregnant, and I don't know why. I think I know why, but we're trying to work on it. The doctor said I don't have enough eggs to fertilize, and I don't even know what that means. It's really upsetting because his family and mine kept bothering me when we were going to get a baby. I don't know how to tell them that we're trying, but I know it's anytime soon. If nothing works, we have no choice but to say something. I would list the other issues as I keep writing to my husband, Stan. I live in this he bought a bedroom apartment, which I think is a great idea. He also has a job that I can't reveal the details of, but I can tell you that he's a lawyer and he came from a very average home. I'd say this is a huge job and I'm really proud of him. I also have a teaching job. I teach kids in kindergarten, and I have to say that it's a really enjoyable thing to do. I'm eager to have children of my own and we're still trying to figure something out. Imagine a Wednesday evening where the sun is shining. In the summer, my friends came over for our regular book club. I love reading, and it's a great way to meet other people who share my interest. There's Sarah, who's the nerd in the group and a lot of fun to be around. Then there's Tracy, who's the most popular member of the group. The group, or at least that's what my friends say, and the last one is Anna. She's the clown of the group because she makes everyone laugh. I'd say I'm kind of in between everything, and I love myself for that. It was my day off from work then, because I was a bit of a part. I'm a time teacher, so I only go to work on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Wednesday and Thursday are my days off during the week. Stan was at work that day, and I was having fun with my friends. We discussed a lot of things. It was already late, so they told me bye, and I showed them out. I heard my phone vibrate and I thought, who would be calling me right now? I didn't hear it vibrate again. So I figured it was a text. I don't usually get texts except from my voicemail. I was surprised to get a work-related text from an unknown number. When I opened it, I was shocked to see that it was from Alex, my ex, who I hadn't heard from in over a year. He didn't even come to my wedding, which I had expected. I knew it was him because the text said, "Hey it's Alex. I don't know if you still remember me, but hit me up if you do." You might be thinking, I know many, Alex, or maybe you're not, but the point is that he's the only one that calls me M. I was wondering how he got my number because I didn't think he'd have it with him. Before I could even think of texting him, my phone crashed. There's another story for that. I met Alex when I was in college. I was a freshman and he was a sophomore. He was this proud person who I didn't like at first. He assumed everyone was in love with him because he was this handsome guy. I didn't like it because he was right, and most of my friends had a crush on him and pushed themselves on him. I tried to ignore him as much as I could, but for unknown reasons he kept trying to come closer to me. I noticed this at first, but I tried to ignore it. Perhaps I was just overthinking it. I figured it out when he came to me in person trying to start a conversation with me, but I only walked away. I didn't want attention to myself, and I intended to be very low-key. He was trying to make things worse for me. He came to me again, and I told him why I didn't want to talk to him. I said that there were other girls who wanted him and he just laughed. He said that he didn't care about anyone else and that he'd been watching me from afar. I laughed because that was a bit creepy, but I still didn't believe him. He tried to get closer to me every time by talking to me, walking with me, and despite telling everyone I was his very good friend, it seemed like the girls around me hated me, while my friends showed they were jealous. A month later, Alex asked me out. I turned him down at first, but he never gave up. He told me he liked me and wanted to date me. I didn't believe him because boys weren't trustworthy, especially not in college. However, Alex didn't give up and kept trying to go out with me, but I said no. One day, I finally said yes and agreed to go out with him. He looked really excited, which made me smile. I asked him where we would be going, and he said he was going to come pick me up at home. He knew where I lived since he walked home with me sometimes. I told my parents about the date, and they were happy for me. I was 18 at the time, so they said they would let me go on the date with him. I did everything I could to look extra pretty for him. I wasn't head over heels for him, but I think I might have had a bit of a crush on him. He came over and was really impressed by my short hair, which I'd let down even though I usually tied it up at school. He also noticed my blue dress, which I thought was pretty cool. I hope it wasn't too much. I was checking him out too and thought he looked pretty good in that black suit. At first, I thought my outfit was pretty decent. Now though, I was starting to think it was a bit much. I didn't think my dress was that great. He greeted my parents and they checked him out before letting us go. We thought that was funny because his voice was shaky the whole time. I apologized to him for the pressure they were putting on him. John was there too, but he just glared at him, which made Alex uncomfortable. We went to his car and he opened the door for me, like a gentleman. I was really happy about that. He also complimented me, which was new for him. Alex took me to a fancy restaurant, which was my first time there. I come from an average family, so I thought dates were burgers or pizza places. Alex and I discussed a lot of things. I found out things about him that surprised me, like that he was an artist. He told me he was an artist, and he trusted one close friend not to tell anyone. That was the first I'd heard of it. We ordered food. We had some food and it was pretty fancy, but it tasted good. I asked Alex to show me his art and he brought out his phone and showed me some that he'd taken with his camera. I remember one of them was a little girl holding a flower, and it was something I'd never seen before. It was a unique drawing, and he had talent. I also told him things about me and my family and where I come from. I asked him when he'd started liking me and he said it just happened. My first kiss. I was with him and it was a great night. Before I knew it, it was over. I wish it had lasted longer because I wanted to spend more time with him. He took me home and I said goodbye. The next day was pretty much the same as every day, except this time I accepted Alex and everyone knew we were dating. This went on for almost a year before things changed. He told me he wanted to talk to me. I was scared because of the way he said it. If he was fed up with me and wanted to break up, I wouldn't be surprised. But what he told me was different. He said he was going to travel out of the country to pursue his studies in art, which I thought was great because I remember asking him if he had any plans since he was great at it. I knew there was something more with the way he looked at me, and I was afraid that I knew what it was. He told me he had to break up because he couldn't have a long-term relationship. I remember begging him not to break up because we could work on it. I also remember telling him that I liked him and wanted something with him, but he kept turning me down. He said he couldn't work it out, so we maintained distance. I was angry at him and at myself because I wanted someone and the person didn't want me. He tried talking to me sometimes, but I didn't want to hear anything from him. He left the country a few days after and didn't even say goodbye. I was angry because he had my number and couldn't call. I had his number, but I couldn't give up my pride to text or call. Around that time my phone got damaged and I lost all the contacts. I didn't think I'd be hearing from Alex. Well, at least not until now. I was still looking at the message and contemplating whether I should reply back. Or not. I did what my gut said and replied to him. I was a bit hesitant and walked around wondering if he would text back. I thought maybe he texted me by mistake, so my silly mind replied to him. It was probably just a joke. My phone vibrated after a few minutes, and I checked my phone and saw a message from him. It said, "Hey, it's been a while. I know it's weird that I was expecting your text, but it didn't mean anything. I just felt glad that I meant something to you and you still remembered me. I should have stopped texting him then, but I wanted to talk to him, so that's how it started." We kept texting each day. Alex told me about lots of things. It was all through texts, but I know we shared a lot of feelings too. He told me about how his studies in arts went well. He asked me about what I was doing and about my career. I thought about lying at first, but I couldn't because I love my husband. I told Alex that I was married, but he didn't reply. I was thinking maybe it was a bad idea, but my mind changed when he texted me back. He told me it was great that I was married and he hoped I was happy. I wasn't sure if he was being sincere when I read it, but I left it at that. It's been a week since we were chatting and everything was going great. He asked me where I was staying now because he wanted to come visit. I was against it, but it didn't seem bad since it was just an old friend there was an ex involved. The issue was that Stan didn't know I didn't know if I should tell him because it was about my ex and he knew all about our past. I was looking for something to justify what I was doing. I tried telling myself that there's nothing wrong in texting. My ex, Alex, and I kept in touch by text. We talked about life and shared more personal things. I made a mistake one day. I still didn't see the point in telling my husband about Alex, since it was just between us. I was chatting with Alex one day, when Stan asked me why I was always on the phone. He knew I didn't have anyone else to talk to. I was texting a lot, which seemed strange to him. I don't know why I lied and told him it was just a friend. I left my phone for a second to go take out the trash, and when I came back, I saw my phone in his hand. I got angry, and I don't know why. One reason might be because I was annoyed that my phone was in his hand. It meant he didn't trust me. I was also annoyed at myself, because I knew I would have to tell him the truth. He looked at me and I asked him what he was doing with my phone. He said he'd had a call but had a question for me. Who was Alex? He knew about he said he was ex-Alex, but he wanted to confirm it was him. I asked him why he was looking at my texts, but he didn't answer. Can you believe that he went on with the questions and I told him the truth about how it was my ex? He frowned and shouted, asking why I would be texting my ex. I told him. He said it was no big deal and that I was making too much of it. I told him it was normal to text your ex and that I wasn't the one who texted him first. I said it was just a longtime friend of the past. Stan kept overreacting and saying that I think he texted for a reason, but I don't think he told me to stop texting Alex. I don't want to, though I don't want Alex to get in the way of Stan and me. I picked up my phone and went for a walk. He told me to come back because we were still talking, but I didn't want to keep going over this. I needed to clear my head. I'm not sure what to do right now because I'm stuck. Should I keep texting with Alex? It's not like he said he wanted to go out with me or anything. Even if he did, he said that one day it wouldn't bring any harm because we were friends. Should I not text him anymore and listen to my husband? What if he truly has a purpose like he said? My mind is all jumbled up right now, so I need advice on what to do. Please help. You two seem to have a great and special marriage. It shouldn't be ruined so easily. Women never appreciate something good in front of them. They want the good thing they had in the past. You should fix this. Don't let your marriage get destroyed. I still had some feelings for him, but it was only because he suddenly wanted to come back into my life. I spoke to John, my brother, and told him that Alex was back. He sounded furious over the phone, so I told him what had happened. He said Alex couldn't come back and try to pry into my life when I'm finally happy. I also spoke to my close friends, if you remember them, the ones from the book club. They also gave me some good advice, like you all did. It was to communicate with my husband. I begged. I asked him to talk to me. He finally agreed and asked me who I had decided to be with. I shook my head and held his hands because that was an absurd question. Now that I've heard it, I can't believe I wanted to destroy my marriage because of someone I felt something for before. I apologized, and Lee told Stan I'd chosen him over and over again, so everything's normal now. The only problem remaining was Alex. He kept texting me and asking when we were going to meet, but I tried my best to ignore him. You might be wondering why I didn't block him, but I didn't want to come off too strong. I was being a bit too intense, although that might sound like an excuse. Alex started calling me because he noticed, but I didn't answer. He made a few phone calls, and then one day Stan went to work. It was one of my days off, and Alex called in. I answered after staring at it for a few seconds. I heard his voice after what felt like an age. It was deeper and different to what I'd heard before. It had been 3 weeks since he'd texted me and I'd been waiting to hear his voice again. This time I didn't feel the same emotions. I'm happy about that because I wasn't so. I didn't want to get too attached to my ex while I was with my husband. Alex said hi over the phone and I answered him. He said my voice has changed and I said the same. He asked me why I didn't text him anymore and why I was ignoring his calls, so I told him the truth. I told him about Stan and I wasn't comfortable with it, so I didn't go into any further details. It wasn't any of his business. I told him not to call me again. He protested at first, saying he didn't see anything wrong. He said it was just a friend calling a friend. I told him he didn't need to see that, but he just needed to know. I did ask why he suddenly texted me one day. He told me the truth. He said he missed me and what they had. He was disappointed when I said I was married. I cringed a bit because I thought he was expecting me to wait for him and accept him once he was back. It's been 3 years since I met Stan, and he's had a big impact on my life. I'm happier with him than I thought I'd be. I told him it didn't matter and he should stop trying. He apologized to me, and the call ended. When Stan came back, I told him everything we'd discussed and what had happened. I promised him I'd never let anything come between us. I love him. I'm happy I got married. We also talked about more things, like going to the doctor concerning the pregnancy, or even adopting if nothing else works. Thanks to everyone here who gave me all of this advice and helped me save my marriage.